Sultans of Delhi. Part 1. Formation of the Delhi Sultanate. In 1206 AD, Muhammad Ghori died and Qutbuddin Aibak declared himself the Sultan of Delhi. 2. The Sultanate period. The period of about 320 years from 1206 CE to 1526 CE is known in Indian history as the Sultanate period. During this period, 5 dynasties ruled over Delhi. The Slave Dynasty. Qutbuddin Aibak laid the foundation of the slave dynasty. He ruled for 4 years. Aram Shah became the ruler of the slave dynasty after Aibak's death, but was defeated and overthrown by Qutbuddin Aibak's son-in-law, Iltutmish. An able and powerful administrator, Iltutmish established a vast kingdom by 1220 AD. Shortly after Iltutmish's death, his able daughter Razia ascended the throne. Being a woman, she had to face many difficulties. Some of the Turkish nobles plotted against her, and she was murdered in 1240 as she favored non-Turkish nobles. Administration of the Delhi Sultanate was carried over by Balban. Balban was strong-built and a powerful personality. Being a strict disciplinarian, he recommended simple living. Balban died in 1287 and the throne went to the Khilji dynasty.
The next. The Mamluk dynasty. Let's have a look at the Mamluk dynasty. Ready,
The
everyone?
Mamluk dynasty was directed into northern
Yes,
India by Qutb ud-Din Aibak, a Turkic general from Central Asia. It was the first of 5 unrelated dynasties to rule India's Delhi Sultanate from 1206 to 1290. Aibak's tenure as a Urid dynasty administrator ranged between 1192 to 1206, a period during which he led invasions into the Gangetic heartland of India and established control over some of the new areas. History. The Mamluk, literally meaning owned, was a soldier of slave origin who had converted to Islam. The phenomenon started in the 9th century and gradually the Mamluks became a powerful military caste in various Muslim societies. Mamluks held political and military power most notably in Egypt, but also in the Levant, Iraq, and India. In 1206, Muhammad of Ghor was assassinated. Since he had no children, his empire split into minor sultanates led by his former Mamluk generals. Taj ad-Din Yildiz became the ruler of Azzi. Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Khilji got Bengal. Nasir ad-Din Karbachar became the Sultan of Multan. Qutb ud-Din Aibak became the Sultan of Delhi, and that was the beginning of the slave dynasty. Aibak rose to power when an Urid superior was assassinated. However, his reign as the Sultan of Delhi was short-lived as he died in 1210 and his son Aram Shah rose to the throne, only to be assassinated by Iltutmish in 1211. The Sultanate under Iltutmish established cordial diplomatic contact with the Abbasid Caliphate between 1228 to 1229 and had managed to keep India unaffected by the invasions of Genghis Khan and his successors. Following the death of Iltutmish in 1236 a series of weak rulers remained in power and a number of the noblemen gained autonomy over the provinces of the Sultanate. Power shifted hands from Uqayn ud-Din Firoz to Razia Sultana until Ghiyas ud-Din Balban rose to the throne and successfully repelled both external from the Chagatai Khanate invasions and internal from the rebellious Sultanate nobles' threats to the Sultanate. The Khilji dynasty came into being when Jalal ud-Din Firoz Khilji overthrew the last of the slave dynasty rulers, Mu'izz ud-Din Kayaqubad, the grandson of Balban, and assumed the throne at Delhi. Sultans. The first sultan of the Mamluk dynasty was Qutb ud-Din Aibak, who had the titular name of sultan and reigned from 1206 to 1210. He temporarily quelled the rebellions of Nasir ud-Din Karbachar of Multan and Taj ud-Din Yildiz of Azzi. Making Lahore his capital, he consolidated his control over North India through an administrative hold over Delhi. He also initiated the construction of Delhi's earliest Muslim monuments, the Qut-ul-Islam Mosque and the Qutb Minar. In 1210 he died accidentally while he was playing a game of polo in Lahore on horseback, his horse fell and he was impaled on the pommel of his saddle. He was buried near the Anakali Bazaar in Lahore. The second sultan was Aram Shah, who had the titular name of Sultan and reigned from 1210 to 1211. An elite group of 40 nobles named Chalgani conspired against Aram Shah and invited Shams ad-Din Iltutmish, then governor of Badon, to replace Aram. Iltutmish defeated Aram in the plain of Jug near Delhi in 1211. It is not quite certain what became of Aram. The third sultan was Shams ad-Din Iltutmish, who had the titular name of Nasir Amir al-Mu'minin and reigned from 1211 to 1236. He shifted the capital from Lahore to Delhi and trebled the exchequer. He defeated Nasir ad-Din Karbacha of Multan and Taj-ad-Din Yildiz of Azi, who had declared themselves contenders of Delhi. Mongols invaded India in pursuit of Jalal ad-Din Manjabani, who was defeated at the Battle of Indus by Genghis Khan in 1221. After Genghis Khan's death, Iltutmish consolidated his hold on northern India by retaking many of the lost territories. In 1230, he built the Horz-i-Shamsi reservoir in Miruli, and in 1231 he built Sultan Gari, which was the first Islamic mausoleum in Delhi. The fourth sultan was Ayukn ad-Din Feroz, who had the titular name of Sultan and reigned from April 1236 to November 1236. He ruled for only 7 months and his mother, Shah Turkan, for all practical purposes was running the government. He abandoned himself to the pursuit of personal pleasure and debauchery, to the considerable outrage of the citizenry. On November 9, 1236, both Ayukn ad-Din Feroz and his mother Shah Turkan were assassinated by the Chalgani. The fifth sultana was Razia al-Din, who had the titular name of Jalis Sent Latardar registered trademark and Razia Sent Sultana and reigned from 1236 to 1240. As the first female Muslim ruler in India, she initially managed to impress the nobles and administratively handled the sultanate well. However, she began associating with the African Jamal ad-Din Yacht, provoking racial antagonism amongst the nobles and clergy, who were primarily Central Asian Turkic and already resented the rule of a female monarch. She was defeated by the powerful nobleman Malik al-Tunya, whom she agreed to marry. Her brother Mu'izz ad-Din Bahram, however, usurped the throne with the help of the Chalgani and defeated the combined forces of the Sultana and her husband. The couple fled and reached Kethel, where their remaining forces abandoned them. They both fell into the hands of Jats and were robbed and killed on October 14, 1240.
What we did yesterday in yesterday's class. You all remember Iltutmish had introduced Ikta system. Can
Yes,
one person tell me what is Ikta system if you remember? What? Yes. And who is an Iqtidar? What is an Ikta system?
someone that collects the iktas.
Yes. What is Ikta? Ikta system means what? Land revenue collection system, administrative system of collecting land revenues, and the person who collects these revenues is called as Iqtidar.
Land
And Iltutmish also divided all the nobles into 9 groups. What was that group called as? Let me see who will tell me. How many of you all remember which this we did yesterday? What it was? What is this called as?
Turkani
Very good. Turkani Chalgani. Whose mic has been unmuted? Please mute. All right. Apart from that, why is Iltutmish considered as the founder of Delhi? What did he do? Can anybody tell me why Iltutmish was considered as the founder of Delhi?
He patronized art and completed the construction of Qutub Minar.
Okay. And what else? What are the other things he did?
Ma'am, he
also built his own tomb.
And he even built his own tomb.
Okay. Okay. Apart from that, he
Ma'am, and he brought together the Indian territories.
very good into one empire. That's the reason he was called as the founder of Delhi. Okay. Clear, everyone? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's go on to the next ruler now. Okay. Now, after Iltutmish, the next successor, that means the next king who took over the throne after Iltutmish, it was his son. His son's name was Rukunuddin Firoz Shah. Please underline. Just underline the name Rukunuddin Firoz Shah. Okay. Much against Iltutmish was succeeded by his son Rukunuddin Firoz, much against his wishes, with the help of some nobles and army leaders. None of his sons were worthy of the throne, and he had nominated his daughter Razia as his successor. Rukunuddin ruled as Sultan for 7 months only and spent most of his time in pleasure and enjoyment. This only proved that he was a weak and incompetent ruler. So the next successor after Iltutmish was his son, that is Rukunuddin Firoz Shah. But he was given this throne without his wishes because he was not worthy to become a king or to become the successor of Iltutmish. He never had those qualities, and that's the reason Iltutmish had nominated whom as his successor? Whom he nominated as his successor?
Razia.
Razia.
His daughter
His
Razia.
daughter Razia, okay, because his sons, none of his sons were capable of taking up the throne, okay, they were incompetent, they were very they were weak, and they wasted most of their time in pleasure and enjoyment, okay, they had weak administrative or leadership qualities. All right, and even if Rukunuddin Shah was given the throne after Iltutmish, he could manage that throne only for 7 months. Okay. However, with the support of the people of Delhi and some military leaders, Razia soon ascended the throne. So when she was the daughter, right? That means the sister of Rukunuddin Firoz Shah. When she saw his brother is incapable to take up the throne, to take up the leadership qualities, and he was more inclined to pleasure and enjoyment, so she took up the throne after 7 months. Now let us see Razia Sultan as the leader, what challenges she had faced and what she did to expand her territories. Now, being a woman, Razia faced stiff opposition from nobles and officers who refused to accept a woman as their sultan. So as soon as she took up the throne, the first challenge she faced was from the nobles and the officers. Why? Because they did not want to accept the fact that a woman has become the sultan and she is ruling. Okay, because it was a male dominated society, as you all know. Once the king died, the monarch, the throne was passed on to the son, and she was the first woman who took up the leadership, who took up the throne. So definitely she faced various challenges. Now, she was the only woman ruler during the Sultanate and the Mughal period, the only Muslim woman ruler in those times. Okay, she was the first one, she was the only Muslim ruler who took up the throne in those times where the society was completely male dominated, and it was very hard even for the nobles and for the officers to accept her as the sultan. Okay, she tried to dress as a man, especially in all public appearances, like in court or on the battlefield. She was the leader of her army and capably rode horses. So now on her part, she also tried to manage, okay, in that specific society, male dominated society. What did she do? She tried to dress up like man, especially when she was making any public appearances, whether it was in court or on battlefield. And she also rode horses just to prove herself that she's capable. All right, so she had to do all such things to prove the nobles and the officers and the society that yes, she has those leadership qualities. As a ruler, she was courageous and capable. Please underline what are the attributes of her. She was courageous, she was capable, and do underline this also. It was difficult to, I forgot to tell you all, underline the first part that the oppositions, the nobles and the officers refused to accept her as women. So this was the first challenge she had faced. Okay. And on the above, near Rukunuddin Firoz Shah, just underline, he managed to, like, as a sultan, he was there only for 7 months. Rukunuddin Shah ruled as sultan only for 7 months. Okay, he was more inclined towards pleasure and enjoyment. Okay, he did not wanted to become the leader also. Now, let us see what are the qualities which she had. Okay, she was courageous and she was very capable, proving to be a good monarch, a determined person. She was determined. She preserved in looking after the welfare of her people and facing the rebellious nobles and governors. So she was quite determined, she was courageous, and she even looked after the welfare of the people. Please underline, these were the areas which she focused on during her reign of the welfare of the people, not the whole paragraph, just the keywords. Determined person, welfare of the people. Okay, she was rebellious. Underline, please underline in your textbooks also, children. Okay, she detested being called sultana, since it meant the wife of a sultan. Hence, she liked to be called as sultan. You might get this for give reasons. Okay, in short also, why she did not like anybody calling her sultana? Why? Because sultana means the wife of sultan.
a sultan.
Yes, so she always preferred that people would address her as sultan. Now, she has been criticized for having kept close ties with an Abbas. It is just no, don't highlight. Let me read it. Okay.
Saad, can you enlarge the screen?
No, it's okay. It is not visible to you.
No, ma'am, I was just saying that.
Okay. She has been criticized for having kept close ties with an Abyssinian slave, Malik Jamaluddin Yaqut. She appointed him as Amir-e-Akhur, that means master of the horses, much to the shock of the nobles. Later, she married a rebellious governor of Bhatinda. The name of the person whom she married is Malik Al-Tunia, in an attempt to resist opposition from the nobles. However, both of them were defeated and killed in the year 1240. Okay, so what had happened? See, as you all know, the nobles did not like her being sultan. They were initially opposing her to take up the throne. So what had happened when she had appointed a person as don't highlight, wait, let me explain. When she appointed a person named as Malik Jamaluddin Yaqut as as an Amir Akrub, that means master of horses. So people started talking after her back that maybe she's having close relations with her and all. So just to give a shut up call to them, what did she do? She married a governor of Bhatinda. The name of the person was Malik Al-Tunia. All right, but then both of them were defeated and they were killed in which year?
1240.
1240.
Yes. Okay, have you all understood here, children? Have you all
Yes, ma'am.
understood? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me
Yes,
ask you
ma'am.
a few questions. Let me ask you a few questions so that I'll be satisfied. Let's see. So, who was the son of Iltutmish?
Rukuddin
Rukunuddin
Feroz
Feroz
Shah.
Okay. Did he become or took up the throne with his wishes, or how was the throne given to him?
He took up the
Much
throne
against-
against his wishes.
Against
Okay.
Iltutmish's wishes.
Iltutmish wish? No, against his wish.
Against his
Oh.
wishes.
Okay,
With the-
yes. For how many months did he rule as
7
Sultan?
months.
7
7
months.
months.
What was he much interested apart from being Sultan?
Ma'am, in
Enjoyment
pleasure
and
and
pleasure and
enjoyment.
Enjoyment.
Pleasure
Okay.
and
So, and whom did Iltutmish appointed as his successor?
Razia Sultan.
Razia Sultan.
Who was Razia Sultan?
Ma'am, the
Daughter of
Daughter of
Iltutmish.
Iltutmish.
Okay. So, as soon as Razia Sultan took up the throne, what was the first challenge she faced?
Opposition
Ma'am,
from the
Opposition from the
nobles
nobles and
and officers.
officers who refused to
Why?
accept a woman as a sultan.
Yes.
She
Because
was the
they
only
refused
woman who
to.
was given the sultanate and
Okay. What were the capabilities? How she was like a capable leader, or she was capable to become a sultan? Why? What qualities she had?
and she was courageous and
Eh,
capable, proving to be good
courageous and
She was a
capable,
of her people
determined
and facing the
person.
rebellious
religious nobles and governors.
Okay.
She looked after the welfare of her people, facing the rebellious nobles and governors.
Hmm. Okay. What did she like people calling? Why did she like people calling her as Sultan?
And because this word sultana means the wife of
Ma'am,
sultan.
because
Sultan.
Sultana means the wife of Sultan.
She did not like being called as Sultana because that it means wife of Sultan. So instead, she preferred people calling her as Sultan.
Sultan.
Okay. Now, what was the conspiracies which was led against her? What did the people, nobles and officers do?
And she has been criticized
For what?
for having kept close ties with the
Close.
Abbasian slave
Mhm.
Okay. So in order to stop that, what did she do? What was her response?
She appointed him Amir.
No, ma'am, she married the
No.
rebellious governor of Bhatinda,
Yes.
Malik Al-Tun.
Just because she was criticized because she had appointed Jamaluddin Yaqub as the master of the horses. That's why she was criticized. So to stop this, what did she do? She married Malik al-Tunya. Okay. He was the rebellious governor of Bhatinda. And later on, how were they defeated? Which year?
1240.
In 1240.
Okay. So that means let's go on to the next page.